Did you hear Beyonce overnight?
No, what happened?
She released all of this stuff, accusing Jay Z of cheating.
Oh, that's awful.
It was kind of abnormal when he got with Beyonce. Like, she was pretty young when he got with her. There's rumors that he was messing with Foxy Brown when she was pretty young.
There are horrible things that happen every day, whether it be in the industry or not. Mentally, emotionally, financially.
In the early 2000s, Maya was everywhere at one point. Platinum albums, hit songs, big-name collaborations, even Grammy performances. She had that early 2000s R&B game in a chokehold. But then, almost out of nowhere, she just kind of disappeared. And insiders claim that it had to do with Jay Z and Beyoncé.
Emails, if you have any type of sensuality, appeal, or not, you can still get talked about and linked to people that...
Many people are already aware of how powerful Beyoncé and Jay-Z are in Hollywood, and the fact that Beyoncé can bring someone down for her own benefit. Yeah, that same theory was applied to Maya as well.
There can be power plays and ultimatums given for the people that hold the power, whether that be toward a female or male artist.
I don't know. I'm not in the club, so I wouldn't know. But it's just a little weird that everybody that goes past a certain point, you'll hear a little.
No drama, no messy headlines, no interviews telling all the insides. She just went quiet. But here's the thing. People who were really watching, they noticed. 1 minute she was on top, and the next, radio stations stopped playing her music. The collaborations dried up, and her album, it basically vanished. And it wasn't because she lost her spark. Far from it. Maya was the real deal. She could sing, dance, perform, hold it down in interviews. She had it all. Signed at 15, her debut album blew up, and she became a household name just like that. Songs like It's All About Me, Take Me There from the Rugrats movie, and Ghetto Superstar, total classics.
I just know that I was doing remixes back to back, and there was this artist feature and that artist.
She had range too. 1 week she'd be rocking a hip-hop track, the next she'd be performing at a jazz festival. The girl had layers. But then, things got weird behind the scenes. Her fourth album, it was ready to go, but her label shelved it. Then it got renamed, quietly leaked in Japan, and just like that, it was over. Maya didn't make any fuss, she didn't sue, didn't blast anyone. She just let it go and walked away from the big label life.
I would definitely have to say those in power, that want to and get off on a beat.
She started her own label and kept doing her thing, just on a smaller scale. Most fans figured, must be bad luck or bad management. But years later, in a few interviews, she dropped some hints about the stuff she turned down, about certain powerful people not being happy with her choices. That's when it clicked. Maya didn't just fade away, she was pushed out. Quietly, intentionally. And people in the industry, they saw it happen in real time. It wasn't that the world forgot about her, it's that someone made sure she stayed forgotten. In the early 2000s came the remix of The Best of Me with Jay Z, and that's when things started to get a little complicated. That song had a whole different vibe. It wasn't just catchy, it was bold, smooth, and had that street edge that made people stop and really pay attention. Jay Z was in his prime, dropping clever lines and even mentioning Maya by name. The chemistry between them, you could hear it loud and clear. It didn't just sound like a good collaboration, it sounded personal.
If you're in a relationship, it can get a little strange because you have to constantly defend yourself and explain yourself for what really doesn't have to be explained.
Now, the original version of the song with Jadakiss was already doing fine. It wasn't a huge smash, but it kept her momentum going. But that remix with Jay, that one lit a spark. Not just in the clubs, but in the gossip circles too. People started talking, speculating, and that's when the energy around her started to change. Not on the charts, but behind closed doors. And that's when the whispers really kicked in. Jay-Z already had a bit of a reputation for mixing business with his personal life, so when that remix with Maya dropped, people immediately started side-eyeing. Like, was there something going on between them? Was Beyoncé already in the picture? And if so, how messy did things get?
Like when female singers work with rappers, they try to link them romantically, and years later, another rumor comes up saying that you guys had an affair.
Maya never spilled any tea. For years, she stayed completely silent on the topic. But behind the scenes, those rumors started spreading fast. People in the industry started saying that even just being close to Jay, whether it was true or not, put her in a weird spot. Not just with Beyonce, but with the powerful inner circle around her. And let's be honest, that circle doesn't play. To make things worse, Jay and Beyonce's relationship started getting more public around that time. Suddenly, Maya wasn't just seen as a rising star, she was viewed as a threat. Not because of anything she said, but because of what people thought she might have done. Fast forward a few years and those rumors exploded online. Old photos started making the rounds. Fan pages were stitching together timelines, and people began suggesting that The Best of Me Part 2 might have been more than just a collaboration. Then in 2014, Beyoncé released Resentment, and fans really ran with it. Lyrics about betrayal and another woman. Social media lit up with theories that Maya was the one Bey was singing about. Still, Maya kept her cool, until one day in 2014, a fan straight up asked her on Instagram if she'd ever had an affair with JayZ. Her response? Short, sharp, and clear. Never did, never was, never will. Illegitimate, thirsty sources with no facts. Boom, she shut it down. But of course, the rumors didn't go away. That's the thing about blackballing. It doesn't need proof, just enough gossip to stain your name.
Free therapy.
Because in the past, of course, you've been accused of similar things.
Well, that's what you sign up for when you enter the entertainment business.
After that remix, everything started to change. Her label support faded. Her 2014 independent project, Sweet 16, had strong vocals and clean production, but it didn't chart. Media interviews dried up. Red carpet invites stopped coming. It was like someone slowly dimmed the lights on her career. And if you really look at the timeline, it's hard to ignore. Before the remix, Maya was on track to be one of the top R&B and pop girls of her era. After it, she was quietly pushed out of the spotlight. And no one from that inner circle, Beyonce, JayZ, Rock Nation, has ever said a word about it publicly.
I don't have anybody coming at me, but I know what I'm not guilty of.
Of course. But do you think Beyonce might say things or sing things just to stir up publicity for a new album, or?
I can't really speak on what other people do.
Maya, though, has dropped a few hints over the years. She's made it clear she turned down things that didn't sit right with her. And in this industry, sometimes saying no is enough to get you marked. Meanwhile, at the top of the game sat two of the most powerful men in the business, Jay Z and Diddy. On paper, they were rivals, but in reality, they were tight. Same parties, same vacations, same front rows at award shows and exclusive events. These weren't just music moguls, they were gatekeepers. And for someone like Maya, who chose to walk her own path instead of playing the game, the door slowly started to close. One thing's clear, these powerful guys in the music industry, they've always had each other's backs. Jay Z and Diddy weren't just big names in the game, they were gatekeepers. They influenced everything, from who got signed to who got airplay, and even who got completely erased. And Maya, she wasn't just someone who got caught in the crossfire. According to people in the know, she had seen enough to know when it was time to step away. But here's where things get even deeper.
That all women are treated unfairly, disrespectfully, but I can say
Maya actually has a bigger connection to both Jay-Z and Diddy than most people realize. And part of that connection involves Kim Porter, Diddy's longtime partner. A lot of folks have always believed Kim knew too much, stayed quiet for too long, and that her sudden death just didn't sit right. The moment Maya found out Kim had passed, it wasn't just sadness, she was scared. Then came December 8th, 2024, and things really started heating up. Jay-Z found himself pulled into a lawsuit accusing him of some of the same things that were already surfacing about Diddy. Jay didn't stay quiet. He clapped back with a long, emotional statement saying, "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down and explain the cruelty and greed of people." But the attorney, Busby, wasn't backing down either. He hit back just as hard, accusing Jay-Z of trying to silence victims and using intimidation. He said, regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is, my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Then he added, instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has also tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened, "I'm very proud of her resolve." And Busby wrapped it up by saying, "As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself, and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media." That's when fans started piecing things together, especially the ones already following Diddy's ongoing legal drama. If Diddy's empire was starting to fall apart, who else could be tied into that same web of silence, control, and exploitation? And just like that, all the old rumors came rushing back. This isn't just about Maya. It's about Foxy Brown, Aaliyah, and even Beyonce too.
Jay Z and I are very good friends, and we've hung out a lot, and that happens in the business a lot if you have friends in the industry and people see you together.
Foxy Brown has been dropping hints for years about how tough it was to make it in the music world. She allegedly claimed that Jay-Z indulged in physical activities with her when she was just 15, and that he helped pay for her life when she was still in high school in return. She also claimed that their meetings weren't just private, some were recorded. One of those tapes even went missing from her home. Even more serious, Foxy said Jay made her sign lots of NDAs, and one time, she said not just Jay, but actor and comedian Jamie Foxx was involved in a recorded encounter that she later said felt very wrong. It's a dark and disturbing story, and now people are starting to listen. Then there's Jay Z and Beyoncé. He was 31, she was 19, Beyoncé says. They didn't start dating until she was of legal age, but Jay was already interested in her when she was a teenager. Beyoncé has said she had worked really hard and gave up a lot of her youth, and Jay came in with much more power than she had back then. That doesn't sit right with a lot of fans.
Say that Jay-Z, if he was doing ill shit like that, he was more quiet about it.
Beyoncé is a powerhouse all on her own. She doesn't need anyone to stand behind. But some fans still wonder how her relationship with Jay-Z even started and what really caught his eye when he first went after her.
It was kind of abnormal when he got with Beyonce. Like, she was pretty young when he got with her. There's rumors that he was messing with Foxy Brown when she was pretty young.
Now Maya, she was different. She wasn't interested in playing the long game or fitting into the system. She stayed independent, turned down offers, and avoided the big parties. And guess what? In this business, if you don't play along, you kind of disappear. By the mid-2000s, Maya started fading from the spotlight. Not because she lost her talent or messed up, but because she was quietly pushed out. From the outside, it looked like she was slowing down. But really, the industry was shutting her out. At first, it was little things. Delays in releasing her singles. No big promotions. Albums getting shelved with no explanation. Then it got worse. Shows canceled. No invites to award ceremonies she used to host. And interviews stopped coming after her 2003 album, Mood Ring.
I'm in a business that comes with a lot of... If you sign up to be an entertainer, you have to realize that many things are going to be said about you.
Her next album, Control Freak, was supposed to be a big deal. The title even suggested she was taking charge, but it never saw the light of day. The album got shelved, the title changed, and when Liberation finally came out, it was only in Japan. No press tour, no TV appearances, not even a proper US release. It just quietly leaked. This wasn't an accident, it was blackballing. And blackballing in the music world is worse than a public cancellation. There's no drama, no headlines. Your label just drops you without a word. Your songs stop playing on the radio. Producers ignore your calls, not because you're bad, but because they're told to.
Your standards. And it's very difficult if you don't know it, if you can't identify it regarding what's coming at you. And that takes some time to maybe step away if you walked into this game not knowing who you are and your limitations.
Suddenly, Maya wasn't showing up at big events, even when she had new music out. Her name vanished from red carpets and press. Between 2004 and 2007, she pretty much disappeared. No reality shows, no big interviews, no brand deals, no collaborations with the artists she used to work with.
There can be power plays and ultimatums given for the people that hold the power, whether that be toward a female or male artist.
She'd already proven she could hit the charts with songs like It's All About Me and Case of the Ex. She'd worked with big names like Missy Elliott, Jada Kiss, and even Jay Z. But then, all that stopped. Most artists would have crumbled. But Maya, she did something rare. She walked away from the whole system and started fresh. She launched her own label, Planet 9, and took control of everything herself, from budgeting to music videos to licensing. Her first truly independent album, Sugar and Spice, dropped in Japan in 2008. No big US push, no magazine reviews, but her Japanese fans loved it, and Maya didn't stop there. So back in 2016, Maya quietly put out some really good music, even got a Grammy nod, and even dropped a few EPs over the next couple of years. But instead of chasing big US radio hits, like a lot of artists do, she focused on performing live all over the world, in places like Dubai, Australia, South Africa, and the UK. While big names were signing huge deals and going after mainstream fame, Maya was selling out shows internationally, running her own label and keeping full control of her music. What's really interesting is that she never publicly called out the people who shut her out. She didn't name JayZ, didn't respond to Beyoncé's fans throwing shade, and didn't badmouth Diddy. But if you listen carefully to her interviews, you can tell she's fully aware of what went down.
I often find that a lot of women that I speak to suffer from that, but you really have to protect, what you allow yourself to believe, because it will.
She's super careful with her words, dropping hints without getting bitter or angry. Maya figured out early on that fame isn't always a gift. It can be a trap. And if you don't play by their rules, they just push you out.
So that if you start early in any game without knowing who you are and being solid in some type of foundation, it's very dangerous for you as an individual. And you have to not be desperate.
When she decided to leave the whole system behind, she knew what she was giving up. There was no big drama or public breakup. She just quietly disappeared from the mainstream spotlight. Saying no to the powerful folks in the industry meant losing access to all the perks, like marketing, radio play, award shows, and press. And once she stopped playing their game, things happened fast. She stopped getting invites to big events, stopped showing up on major lineups, and lost collaborations, even with artists she used to work with regularly. It wasn't she wasn't talented anymore. Her status just changed. And in that world, if you're not in, it's like you don't exist. Choosing to go independent slowed down her career a lot, and most artists would have given up. The people she turned down had real power. They decide who tours, who gets on playlists, who gets magazine covers. When she said no, they just moved on without her. But here's what's different about Maya. She didn't try to fight her way back or cause drama. She didn't chase viral moments or try to fit into whatever was trendy. Instead, she focused on running her own label, making her own music, and touring where she was welcome. She found fans in Japan, Europe, Africa, and the independent scene, places where she could be herself, away from all the politics. That blackout from the mainstream did affect her legacy. People often forgot to mention her when talking about important R&B artists from the 2000s. Award shows didn't ask her to perform or be part of tributes. New artists who were clearly influenced by her rarely gave her public credit. That silence wasn't by accident. It was the industry pretending she didn't matter because she refused to play along.
I'm good. And walk away, But if contractually you have no options, that's a living hell.
Still, Maya stayed steady. She gave interviews without bitterness, dropping subtle hints about what she experienced and the choices she made. Even as powerful industry figures started facing lawsuits and scandals, she stayed out of it, refusing to get pulled back into the mess. She said it herself. When negativity and ultimatums come her way, she just finds a new path. That's real strength, not weakness. She didn't lose everything. She gave up what wasn't serving her anymore, but kept her rights, her name, and her voice. Sure, her career might have gone further if she'd stayed inside the system, but the price wasn't worth it. Many people think that in the industry, if you want to make it big, you usually have to bow down, go to the parties, be part of the drama, and keep quiet about the ugly stuff. Some artists have to sacrifice their values just to stay in the game. Maya chose not to do that. She didn't want to be part of a system that asks you to give up who you are for fame and money. That takes courage. She saw how dangerous it all was, and she walked away, and that's something to respect. What do you think about it? Did Maya walk away, or is there another reason behind her silence? Tell us in the comments below.